This eyesore, but wait until you see the inside. And I also want to be popular of youngsters, which I am. Fingers crossed I haven't been sold an MX-5 with a dodgy roof. Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video back on the Driven 24/7 automotive YouTube channel. And I've just bought this. This is my 2000 MX-5 1.8 with 140 bhp. I'm not being real, I've just got my hands in my pockets because it's quite cold. So this car has only got 79,000 miles on the clock, which I believe is quite low for an MX-5. It's also got a relatively long MOT till October, I believe, to the end of the year. And also the MOT history for this car is pretty good. So MX-5s are known for rust, and yeah, it has appeared sometimes on the MOTs, but it's not covered in rust underneath basically, or as long as I think it isn't anyway. I believe this car is a non-import, and I also believe, or I know, that this car is an SE edition, so a special edition. I don't really know what that means, or you know, how many of these cars are left. I don't know if that's a rare edition or not, so I don't know, but I'm really happy with it. And yeah, I'll tell you why I bought this car as well, because it may come as a bit of a like, why is she going to bought a random MX-5, but there is a story behind it. So quick story time then, as per when I buy cars. When I was about 19 years old, I ended up buying a Mark 1 MX-5 in red, but I say red, it was a couple of different shades of red, pink and whatever. I bought the car when I was 19, so nearly 10 years ago now. I bought it for £400. The guy was moving abroad and needed the car gone, and I believe it had a little bit of MOT, but being a Mark 1, obviously it was on an H plate, so it was quite an early Mark 1, I believe. It was really cool with obviously the pop-out headlights. These cars have big bonnets, but when you're driving with the pop-up headlights, so cool, nothing beats it. But that car then failed the MOT quite a bit on like rust issues from underneath the car, and I think we ended up having to replace a lower arm. My dad tried to replace that and everything was seized, and we basically got it for an MOT and sold it on. But in the short time I had that car, I really liked it. It drove nice, it looked cool, even if it was different shades of red. I felt cool driving it. It was a cool little mini Ferrari, I called it, because it was in red as well. And ever since I owned that Mark 1 and I sold it because it had obviously the rust issues underneath, I always said to myself, and I said out loud, that one day I'll own another MX-5 and in better condition as well. And yeah, nearly 10 years later, here I am with this Mark II. Also recently, you would have seen in the previous few uploads, me and my fiance Martin, we went to a local classic car show. There ended up being around 3 or 4 MX-5s there, the different Mark 1 and Mark II variants. And even in that video, I was recorded saying, these MX-5s are cool, I do want another one day. Just looked like a mini Ferrari, I definitely want another one. When I sold mine because it had rust issues, I always said I'd get another one, and I definitely want to. So I think because of that show, it actually made me start looking to see if there were any MX-5s around, and then obviously I came across this one. And also when I did have my Mark 1 MX-5 back nearly 10 years ago, they were just starting to become cool for young drivers. I remember I started to get a wave. I was like, oh, another MX-5 owner waved at me. And now you see a lot of youngsters, which I am, you see a lot of youngsters driving these MX-5s around, the Mark 1s, the Mark 2s. Obviously the Mark 1s are going up in value, and they are a very cool kind of like in-trend car for people that like modifying these things, but they're just a really popular car for young drivers to have. And I also want to be popular, but yeah, I'm glad I've got a car that's like in trend, because I know I've got my modified Starlet at the moment, but it's definitely not as popular modifying a Starlet as it is to having a modified MX-5, or just having an MX-5 for that matter. As locally there are a few modified ones, a few that I follow on Instagram and stuff, and I see it at the local events and shows. So yeah, I've actually gone and bought quite a popular car for once. A couple of other things I want to point out about this car is on the logbook I am going to be the 6th owner, so it's good to know this car hasn't been passed around too many owners. Also this car is original at the moment, and also I bought this car from an elderly gentleman. It was his wife's car, she wasn't using it much, and so she finally one day said to him, do you know what, I admit I'm not using the car much, shall we put it up for sale? And he did. The car also came with 2 keys, which is always great. It's literally just open a door at a time. There's no central locking, no remote fob on this car. Maybe it's just still too old for that kind of stuff, I don't know. On the bad side, this car doesn't really have any service history, but it does have 2 bills of when this car was bought. One bill was at $12,995 when this car was bought in 2002 from a local Mazda dealership to us, and then there was another bill of invoice when this car was bought from a used car dealership, but I can't remember how much that was for. So as you can see by now, the car is in this really nice racing green. I think I know the colour name of this car, but it's actually slipped my mind at the moment. But we do have a contrasting dark kind of gunmetal grey roof. Again, I've seen a lot of MX-5s around locally where they are deliberately putting on a different coloured hardtop roof, because when you sometimes order a factory ordered car nowadays, it's a thing to go for the body colour being in one colour, then you go for like a black roof or a different coloured roof to the body colour. So I actually quite like the fact that this roof is in gunmetal grey. Yeah, it would look better if it was all in green, but it's not. This is a car up and dealt with, shall I say, and I do quite like the grey actually. And I believe these hard tops are quite pricey. I've seen them for sale for around £400 to £500, so if I was to ever think of selling it, I'd definitely get some money in return. Of course, we'll do a proper full walk around of this car in a minute, but I just wanted to point out the hardtop roof, and I also want to point out this eyesore. So this car has come with like a picnic luggage boot rack. Looks awful. So that will be removed. I might sell it. Again, these range from £200 to £50. I really don't like it. It's not the look I'm going for at all, and I'm just not going to use it. So this will be coming off ASAP. So the main thing that sold this car to me is it's just really, really presentable. Okay, the underneath of these tend to, you know, rust and that, but the main thing is I want a car that's presentable, and an MX-5 that's presentable, and this definitely is. So this reminds me a lot of my recent Honda Accord I had in a similar colour, and that wasn't presentable. It had the rear arches were rusting out, but body wise there doesn't seem to be any kind of rot on the wings or nothing that I can see, and that is what I want. I just keep saying it, this car is really, really presentable and easy on the eye. So I really like the kind of mesh modern grille down there. Might be called to black that out one day or get a black one, I don't know. But both the headlights do need a polish. It'd be nice to get them looking crystal clean and fresh, just little things like that. So let's just go with the bodywork. There's a little scuff there, all kind of minor stuff really. A little scuff there. I also really like these orange amber, I don't know, I think they're just reflective strips. They're pretty cool. So onto the wheels now. A couple of things to say. So these are 15-inch Mazda alloy wheels. First of all, I like the look of them. Multi-spoke. The tyres are all good all the way around. I think it's got all mixed match kind of makes the tyres, but whatever, at least I have some. But the alloy wheels are in absolutely exceptional condition. I mean, they need a bit of a wash, I'll give them that, but well, we'll give them that soon. Yeah, there's doesn't seem to be much marking or just use on the wheels at all. Going around onto the side, we have this horrible eyesore amber coloured side repeater, which I do want to get maybe a smoked one. I believe this badge, yeah, you can see it a bit there, it does say, or it did say SE, so whether I can get a replacement, I don't know, or just take it off completely, I'm not too sure. And you can't really see it on camera, but this panel does look a bit flat. Oh yeah, you can see it a bit. So okay, maybe it might have had some paintwork in the past, but at the end of the day, it's all green. And I keep saying that word, it's presentable. And to be honest, I was just looking down the side of the car. Look how clean that is, and I can't even see many dents. That's pretty cool. We'll go on to the grey hardtop now. This is going to have a couple of marks from when people probably got it on and off, and we'll probably add to that, I guess. But we have a heated rear window, and then when you take the hardtop off, you disconnect the heated rear window and put it into the soft top rear window as well, so that is pretty cool. And then the only kind of signs of rust there is ever so slightly on the inner. And like I say, it has had some rust repairs before underneath, which is definitely to be expected. Another really good condition alloy wheel there as well on the rear. More of these amber coloured reflectors on the bumper like those. Electric aerial does work when you start the car up on the ignition. I also don't remember the fuel filler being there on the Mark 1, but it must have done because I filled up today and just found it really odd. I didn't remember it being there. Onto the rear. Lights are pretty cool on these Mark 2s. You've got the horrible eyesore picnic luggage thing, which I believe, I guess just once you open the boot, just slots out. Then we might have to give the boot a bit of a polish because I guess it might leave some marking on the boot where it's been there for so long. Then we've got your MX-5 badge, Mazda badge, little cute high level brake light, and we've got the little Mazda there. But to be honest, there's a little mark there. Got the exhaust there as well. I think it looks standard, but it looks quite cool anyway, tip wise and all that. But yeah, the bumper's actually in really good condition. There's a little dent there that you can see on camera. Driver's side now, and just some more nicks on the roof. I don't know why or whatever. Another good condition third alloy wheel here. Just a little bit of rust on the kind of there, a little bit. But yeah, cool little kind of green mud flaps going on there as well. And to be honest, I'm kind of finding it hard. It's my proper first look around really. Had the car for a couple of days. but the bodywork is actually really good condition. I'm not really noticing too many dents, which is pretty good. And it's alloy wheel number 4. I've just shown you the outside of this car, but wait until you see the inside and the special treats that the interior of this MX-5 has. Oh my god. Guys, what on earth is this? I've actually got my first ever Nardi steering wheel. Not only that, but it's a wooden rim. It's in really, really good condition. This obviously came with the car as part of its special edition, maybe. Also, we have a Nardi gear knob, and we've got a wooden handle on the handbrake there. But oh my god, driving this car, that steering wheel is just absolute heaven. So smooth, and just look at it. Plus, you can also see it through the inside of the car from the outside, and I just love that. So this car does need, obviously, mainly an interior clean, but we haven't done anything to it yet. So the handle, the grabber here is looking a bit worn, obviously to be expected. The door card looks a bit black, spotty, mouldy maybe. Should all clean up really well. Got a little tweeter speaker there, a massive speaker grille there, also a speaker behind it. Now this unfortunately is letting the whole of the interior down really, and it is the driver's seat. Obviously it's always going to wear more than the passenger. See, the passengers is absolutely mint. So first of all, we got this cracking here. Bolster isn't too bad, but just some more cracking. And then we got, to be honest, they could definitely do the clean as well. Look at that, bit grubby. And then yeah, unfortunately it's gone here and down here. Okay, it might be quite good and cheap to maybe just replace these 2 seats. But first of all, I'd want to replace them with the tans. I don't know how easy that would be. I think I'd rather try and get this repaired. If I'm going to do anything, I'd rather try and get this repaired, so it should just be long. I know people can, you know, heavily modify these. They'll swap these out and put bucket seats in, but I want to keep the comfort there for the interior. So as I just said many times, I would look to get this repaired, I think. Also have the MX-5 kick plates there. Don't know where on earth those floor mats have come from. Got the dashboard dimmer, pretty cool. And we've got the wipers and your lights there. Dials are pretty cool, so you've got your fuel, your rev, oil temperature is that, speed, and the temperature of the car. Then you've got a digital display for the mileage down the bottom. Dashboard, it's in really good condition as well, and I like it when the black meets the tan, and it happens on the door cards as well. Really nice. And then you've got the Nardi gear knob, there it is. It is on the wonk, they did have numbers on there, but they're kind of worn away. I need to try and straighten this up, tighten it up or something, so it's quite annoying. We got 2 electric windows there, a little cubby hole there, headlight, leveler, fog lamp, rear heated screen, your heating controls, heaters really good in this. Really like the big in your face digital clock, I like that. Then I think this is a original radio, we've got a CD changer in the back. Look at this, it's even got bass on a little knob there. Obviously I've got that all the way to number 3, and this radio is actually pretty quality as well. This apparently needs a hinge. Well, it certainly does. Got my glasses in there. Fuel cap release, boot release, pretty cool. Little cup holder. We've also got your glove box there. Some little storage in the door cards there, but not a lot. We've got some luggage net. Kind of safety chrome hoops there. So, something to point out on this car. So, as you can see, the hard top is currently on, and this is how I bought the car. I did say to the gent whether he could take it off so I could then see the soft top. He didn't, because it's quite a faff. I think it needs 2 people, which is totally understandable. And because the gentleman was elderly, me and Martin basically took his word that the soft top was absolutely fine. He promised us that it was absolutely fine, but we haven't seen that for ourselves. So I think I'll get my brother, who's very tall with very long arms and legs. I think I'll get my brother and Martin to lift off the hard top pretty soon so we can assess the soft top. I think it will be okay. Also, another promising thing is the guy who bought it from, he had a collection of cars, and I said to him it'd be nice to keep in touch. He has given me his personal mobile number. You'd like to think he wouldn't give out those details if we were going to phone him up and say you've sold us a dodgy car. So hopefully the soft top is okay as he promised, but we will reveal that in another video probably. So yeah, fingers crossed I haven't been sold an MX-5 with a dodgy roof. And I will just show you in the boot just because, why not, and all that. He did say obviously this luggage thing can weigh the boot down, and yeah, it looks like it should just unclip off. If I take my camera bag out and my tripod, get organised, Amber. But anyway, we have the CD changer in the back here. We've got a spare wheel. Well, it's an alright sized boot, definitely get a few bags of shopping in there for sure. A couple of little deep crevices either side. Is what it is for an MX-5 really, nothing really much to report onto the boot. So I do like to show you guys the engine. I never used to in car reveal videos, but here we go. So this is the, like I say, 1.8 engine. These also come in a 1.6. I think the Mark 1 I had before was a 1.6. So I've upgraded to a Mark 2 with a 1.8. It says it is a 18 valve, I believe it is. As I said earlier, producing a whopping 140 horsepower. I believe there are loads of things you can do under this bonnet. Such as a different engine cover, I'm going to call it, induction kits, intake, and just really tarting this up, and people do go to town under here. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Because this car didn't come with much service history, or any at all really, I'm not sure when the cam belt was changed. This has to come off and the cam belt was under there, so it might be good to get that replaced just for, ease of mind. So I can't say I bought this Mark II MX-5 on the cheap, because I don't believe I did. However, the price I paid for this, you could get one for a couple of £100 less, but with more miles on. So I believe I've definitely bought the car at the right price. I have bought it outright, so I'm really proud of that. Hopefully some of my buying and selling cars is kind of like, it's doing alright, which is why I've been able to say I've bought this outright with cash. It might not mean a lot to you, but it does to me. As much as I can't say I bought this car cheap, because if I was buying a cheap one, it would be in worse condition than this. And I always said all those years ago that I wanted to buy a better one, which means a better condition one will cost you more money. But I did pay, let's say, under £2 grand, because it was under £2 grand, with a bit of change. I definitely think I've got, in my kind of words, not a bargain, but I think I've definitely got a good deal considering the condition of this car and certainly the mileage. All those years later, I have gone and bought an MX-5 in better condition. I have plans for this car, but I don't know how far they're going to go. It always comes down to money and what I can afford and what I want to spend on a car. But as you can imagine, there's so much you can do to these MX-5s, no matter what model you have. I do have a couple of things in mind that I'd like to do, but again, it just depends if money allows, and it'll definitely be like a slow burner kind of car. So because I didn't buy this car on the cheap, I am going to have to sell one of the starlets. In fact, one is actually sold, who am I kidding, and that is a pretty cool story to tell. I've got basically a mad car selling story to tell, and that definitely is a video in itself. I was mind blown when it came to selling one of the starlets. I am maybe considering selling one of the other starlets and just having this as my only car, and that is going to be one hell of a nice car this is to have as a one car. And as I said at the start of this video, these cars are really popular now, and I really want to get a name for myself out there. Now, the kind of car scene locally is pretty big. I do see a few of these around. Really cool, actually. Before I got rid of my Mark 1, I had one Wave, and I was well excited about that. So earlier, I've been driving this car a lot today, and there was a young lad coming towards me in a red Mark II MX-5. And to my surprise, he waved to me first, and I waved back. Like, yes, I got a wave from my first wave in the Mark II. And then later on, I was going to cross paths with a yellow Mark II, and I waved first, and she waved back. So waving an MX-5 is a must-do, and I absolutely love it. It's so cool. Sorry, I got carried away with excitement of waving at other MX-5 drivers that I forgot where I was going. And I really want to get a name out there for myself, and I think owning a popular car will help that. And if you guys know what I'm like, I quite like owning cars that not many people like to own. So I've got a modified Starlet, you don't see many of them around. I've had Toyota Carina E's, I've had other Toyotas and random unusual cars, and that is pretty cool. But with owning unusual cars, they don't naturally get much of a following because they're not popular. Now, I don't care in saying I want a car that gets me looks, that, you know, gets me a following. I'm not ashamed to say that. Some people are like, oh, you shouldn't buy a car for other people. I haven't in this case. I've wanted one of these for a few years, but I do think it's cool. I own a car that's in at the moment, that's on trend, that's popular, and if I can make this car unique to me, so add a couple of mods, it will stick out more. People on the roads will think, oh, that's Amber in that green MX-5. That is what I want. I want a car to, you know, put out my name, and I want to be known for, like I said in previous videos with car reveals, but I want a car that's cool and that I feel cool in, and there's nothing wrong with me saying that. I don't believe I'm not afraid to admit that I want a car that people look at and go, that's cool and that, and yeah, that is what I've got here. And on the side of this Driven 24/7 YouTube stuff, I've created also a car brand. It's been around since 2022, but I'm only recently now starting to do stuff with it and get the word out there, and I need a cool car to represent that car brand, and again, a cool car just to represent me as a person. And I definitely feel the MX-5 will do that once I tweak it a bit, you know. But as I said, I've already had 2 waves in this car, it's bog standard, and I'm well happy with that. So that is it then for this video, just revealing to you another car that I bought and another car reveal. But I'm well proud to have stuck to my word, and as I said, years later I now own a much better example MX-5. It's in bog standard condition mode at the moment. I'm not going to do it drift spec, by the way. I'm not going sideways, I'm not doing any walls, that is not me. I'm not here to ruin this thing, I'm here to improve it. I've already sold one of the starlets for this car, I might sell the other, but that will come in another video of which one I have sold. We'll be doing another video also of like everything that's wrong with my MX-5, because it is a 20 or so old car and it has got a few things wrong with it that I've noticed already after owning this car for a couple of days. It's no biggie, we'll sort it, it's an old car. That'll come in another video, and of course plenty more videos to come on my recently purchased MX-5 as well. I hope you guys like it. If you don't, I certainly do. It's definitely worth selling both my starlets for if I do sell the other one, that's for sure. I love this thing. I'm glad to be back in another one. I just love driving this thing, it's just amazing. If you've driven one, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Thanks for watching, see you in another one. I need a drink, I'm just talking too much. Too excited. It's got MOT till I believe all...